Hello, Senior Stoner fan. Just a real Senior Stoner back at you for your Puffco Peak Pro with Turp Pearl dab of the day. Today is Thursday. Hello, everybody. As always, if you benefit or like today's video, please subscribe, join the Senior Stoner family. Don't forget to hit the like button, and I reply to all comments. Unfortunately, Senior Stoners had a hell of a couple of days. I got sent into high gear after my pain procedure. 37 injections to help my pain made it worse. And then something's happening to my body, literally happening to my body as I sit here in front of you. I can't eat. Very hard to drink. My IBS is up to a high level. So what I call it is being bookended. Okay? But most people would call it living with chronic pain and illness. How do we do it? What do we need to do in order to have a day, have a couple hours? Well, first of all, you got to kind of go easy on yourself. And remember, your body is not the enemy. You got to appreciate your body. But your body is vulnerable to illness and injury. So you need to be compassionate to your body, not angry at it. It's not our fault. Not our fault that we have health problems. Everyone struggles with his or her health at some point in life. So we don't want to make things worse by adding self-blame, which I do, to a list of the challenges. And accepting that life is uncertain, unpredictable, and doesn't always conform is the step we have to make peace with how we're feeling. You're making peace with the upside down. It's like Stranger Things, but you have no choice. We cannot spend any more time worrying about how others view our conditions. Instead, we've got to find a way to take care of ourselves. I'm going to say it again. We've got to forgive ourselves over and over and over. Because we didn't do this. Taking the hard look means we didn't do this. So self-forgiveness is truly a form of self-compassion. And self-compassion is one of the most important things you can do to help move through illness and tough times. So to whatever extent possible, you also want to make sure that if there are people who are supportive, like I am so fortunate to have Mrs. Stoner, I'd be in the ground a long time ago. So there are people out there that feel supportive of you genuinely. Some of these people that you deal with, live with, care about, might not be good at showing it. We often do a very poor job in our culture of preparing people to be around illness and pain. For many people, supporting loved ones in need is an acquired skill, which only happens after practice. So if you're dealing with what I'm dealing with and it just started, you have this kind of pain and you're around your wife, your spouse, it doesn't matter who you're around, they might not be able to handle it right away. So you have to expect almost to be let down by friends and family now and again. Everyone feels let down by somebody at some time. You know what? Our situation is very difficult for other people to process. With practice, I think, we might be able to turn the envy and resentment that we feel with others to happy. You see, it's very hard to be limited to what you can do. Eventually, you're going to feel envious and resentful of others because of the great times they can have, and it only makes you feel worse, unfortunately, mentally and physically. So what we need to do, I think, is practice overcoming the envy and resentment and learning to be happy with others when they're doing things you can't do. And that, in turn, will help you bring happiness to your life. You see, we have to teach ourselves to ask for help, I think. Many of us were taught that asking help of other people is a sign of weakness, and you got to do it yourself. But asking for help, those who love you, is not an act of weakness. Absolutely the opposite. It's an act of true compassion because you're bringing them into the world so they can understand it more. We are lonely people in our pain. Remember that. And the effects of isolation mentally and loneliness can be very hard to cope with. So it's very important that we help others when we can. You see, I do this video every single day, and I do multiple videos every single day. Guess what? I'm doing it despite how I feel, despite what I'm going through. Because, you see, I haven't regained my health. My life's not going to be perfect. But guess what? Patience is there. Patience for the pain to recede. Patience for new things to happen in medical science. There's no escaping what's happening. So you have to find ways realistically to assess what's going on and make room for a new way of life, so to speak. My way of life is very close to home. It's a new way of life for me. So getting stuck in the old identities you were, what we could have done, used to do, is a great source of suffering under many circumstances for lots of people. So what you see right before your eyes, unfortunately, is we see our capabilities. We see fact. So without exceptions, maybe rare exceptions, when the body says no, you say no. You see, saying no takes practice. But when the body says no and you say yes, that's when the pain goes out of control. All right? It's an act of self-compassion when your body says no for you to say no also. And you've got to remember not to feel bad about certain things. I don't work anymore. I'm retired. You know what? It's the way it is. My job is a full-time job. Just getting out of bed, standing, moving through the day, no one would take my job. What do you think of that one? And sometimes I just get so fed up with it, it's incredible that I want to do some horrible things. You know what? It's okay to feel fed up sometimes. If you're sick, you're often sick of being sick. And a bad day is really just that. We have to remember that. It's a bad day. It's a bad 2 days. Tomorrow starts over. And if it's a bad day too, there's the day after that. Sooner or later, the universal law of impermanence, which means nothing's forever, will come to my rescue, our rescue. And it's possible that with practice, I can make that a lifelong habit. That's right. Instead of the negative judgment every time, I'm going to pause once in a while and say to myself, wait a second. Tomorrow's coming. Because we live in a cyclical world. It's a circle, just like a Ferris wheel. And when you come at the top, you have two things, hope and opportunity. And we, because we're human beings, we get our fingernails on the windowsill. By golly, we can get our bodies in the window. So, if you can imagine it, you might be able to do it. Never, never forget that despite health problems, we are still whole people. No one should be able to convince you otherwise. No one. You see, this is about making peace. It's about making peace with what is instead of what was. You know, a lot of people go through days, say, oh my God, my day was terrible. My day was awful. It was horrible. I had the worst day ever. Because they're comparing their day to a day 4 years ago when they were speed racing or water skiing or snow skiing or slaloming. Well, guess what? It's a new world for me. It's a new world for many of you. We now have the job. It's our new job. Adaptation. Adaptation, maybe accommodation, and hopefully this will calm some of the stress and some of the horrible pain we're dealing with. This has been the Real Senior Stoner, sharing ways that I pray I can help myself, and I pray that we all can help ourselves together. Cheers, everybody. Let's not be victims. Let's try to help ourselves. Cheers, and have a great day.